www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.
The time is 10 a.m.
Thank you for tuning in to the Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service. My name is Tony and I'm here with Meredith. We invite you to listen to our broadcasts both live and on demand. Our live sessions are available on the Blind Community Thrift Store YouTube channel Monday through Friday between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. each week. Additionally, you can access on-demand content through the Audio Reader Network, which offers a wide range of audio materials for the visually impaired community. To explore content from the Audio Reader Network, please visit www.reader.ku.edu. The site provides details about accessing content via Amazon Alexa, Audio Reader Network mobile app, and information on receiving a radio to listen to the broadcast by KSMU Radio. All broadcasts are played over KSMU's subcarrier airwaves at 67 kHz on 91.1 from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Contact Audio Reader Network for information on receiving a pre-programmed radio. And in news this morning from Jackie Rewald at the Springfield Daily Citizen, a Kansas City man has been charged with trafficking fentanyl in Springfield. A Kansas City man suspected of dealing fentanyl in the Springfield area was arrested this week and charged with the Class B felony of second-degree drug trafficking. Devon Reddy, age 23, is currently held in the Greene County Jail on a $50,000 bond. According to the probable cause statement, Reddy is the primary suspect in an active death investigation of a woman believed to have died of a fentanyl overdose on February 1st, 2026. The woman was not identified in the statement. At the time of his arrest on Tuesday, May 12th, the statement says Reddy had a warrant for his arrest on a drug charge in Nixa, as well as a warrant for his arrest in Kansas. According to the statement, Springfield police were conducting surveillance on an apartment in the 1000 block of East Battlefield Road on Tuesday when an officer observed Reddy, who the officer knew had the warrant from Nixa, getting into a silver Nissan Rogue with other individuals. After the Rogue left the apartment complex with Reddy in the front passenger seat, police pulled the vehicle over into a nearby parking lot. Reddy was told to get out of the vehicle and handcuffed in reference to the warrant. According to the statement, the officer observed a digital scale and burnt foil in the vehicle next to where Reddy was seated. When Reddy was searched, an officer found more foil containing a white powdery substance and a cut straw containing white powder residue in Reddy's sock. The powder and packaging weighed about a gram and field tested positive for heroin and fentanyl, the officer wrote in the report. Police obtained consent to search the apartment from the driver of the vehicle, who is the sole occupant of the apartment, the officer wrote. This person is not identified in the statement and denied any knowledge of anything illegal in the apartment. According to the statement, the occupant of the apartment told police Reddy spent time and had slept in the eastern bedroom of the apartment. There, police found a plastic bag containing a white powdery substance consistent with fentanyl that was hidden amongst children's toys in a bucket. The substance was later weighed as approximately 15 grams and field tested positive for heroin and fentanyl. When asked if his fingerprints or DNA would be on the bag, Reddy allegedly told police they would be. According to the statement, Reddy told police he purchased half an ounce of fentanyl, which he claimed to have given to someone else to sell in the Springfield area. Reddy has entered a plea of not guilty. He does not yet have an attorney, according to online court records, and he is set to appear in Judge Kirsten Poppins' courtroom on Wednesday, May 20th. And in other public safety news, there's a fee increase for loose dogs among proposed revisions and additions to the Animal Control Code. This is brought to us by Jack McGee at the Springfield Daily Citizen. And it says to address ongoing concerns around loose dogs, animal cruelty, and the spread of rabies, and the Springfield Greene County Health Department is proposing a series of revisions and additions to the city code. While many of the changes are intended to clarify the existing requirements, located in Chapter 18 of the City Code, others aim to strengthen or supplement Springfield's animal control laws. Springfield Greene County Animal Control is a division of the Health Department. The Springfield City Council will hold a public hearing on the proposed changes at its May 18th meeting, followed by a final vote on June 8th. Animal control has repeatedly surfaced as a top issue amongst residents, most recently through the first community conversation event in North Springfield, intended to provide residents an opportunity to express concerns and share ideas with the mayor and other city leaders. The Springfield community is experiencing ongoing issues with dogs running loose in neighborhoods. A summary of the proposed changes reads, "These situations are creating fear and safety concerns for residents. When dogs roam neighborhoods, they create frustration for neighbors and can display aggressive behavior toward people and other animals. Current enforcement procedures for animal control ordinances place a high burden on staff and neighbors," the city acknowledges, resulting in some issues taking months or longer to resolve. The recommended revisions focus on evolving how the city code addresses these concerns. Needed improvements would reduce the time to respond swiftly with enforcement tools to hold animal owners accountable to the responsibilities of pet ownership in the city. The changes establish a more straightforward step-by-step process for establishing graduated restrictions on problem dogs and their owners. These revisions will allow animal control to more effectively partner with neighbors to resolve ongoing issues, helping reduce frustration and improve safety. In the first of 10 sections of Chapter 18 slated for revision, the city is looking to distinguish between civil and criminal elements in cases involving reckless owners, defined under the proposed rewrite as an individual who has been issued 4 citations for violations of Chapter 18 within a 24-month period, has been found guilty or pled guilty to animal cruelty, or an administrative hearing officer has determined by a preponderance of evidence that they have committed animal cruelty, owns, harbors, or possesses a dog that has been determined to be vicious, dangerous, or restricted and has been cited for violating Chapter 18 or a hearing officer's orders, owns, harbors, or possesses a dog that has been accused of attacking or biting a domestic animal or a person and fails to surrender the dog to animal control or comply with quarantine requirements. The same section of code is also being revised to streamline the process for the city to obtain a civil remedy against a reckless owner. Under the current code, an individual must be found guilty beyond a reasonable doubt in criminal prosecution before a civil reckless owner case can be filed in an administrative hearing where the standard is a preponderance of evidence. The revisions specifically related to civil cases are necessary to eliminate the need for a city to satisfy a criminal burden of proof in order to obtain a civil remedy. An executive summary of the revision reads: in addition, the city is proposing to extend the time a reckless owner is prohibited from owning animals from 2 years to 5 years, while allowing for them to apply to have the restriction lifted after 3 years. Prompted by a previous animal control case in which an abused animal was held at the animal shelter despite a rescue organization being ready to adopt due to challenges in prosecuting the cruelty case, another proposed code revision would create a civil administrative process to expedite relief and rehoming by using evidence of abuse to trigger a reckless owner finding. Existing code requires the owner to be found guilty beyond a reasonable doubt of animal cruelty before an animal can be placed with a rescue agency and rehomed. On the topic of rescue agencies, current code names the Southwest Missouri Humane Society as the only organization suitable for placing unclaimed animals from the shelter. To better reflect the current reality, the city is proposing to replace the Humane Society with, quote, a contracted rescue organization. To deter owners from allowing their dogs to run loose, the city is proposing to increase the minimum fine for at-large dogs from $10 to $50. For individuals not financially able to pay a larger fine, there would be an option for a judge to assign 8 hours of community service instead. By contrast, the city is also proposing to reduce the penalty for failing to register a pit bull from $500 to $200. Likewise, the minimum hours of community service which a judge may order in place of a fine if the dog is subsequently registered would be reduced from 100 hours to 25. The current penalties for failure to register a pit bull dog in the existing code were adopted after the city prohibited the ownership of pit bulls within the city limits, the description reads. The penalty remained in place after voters decided to allow the ownership of registered pit bull dogs. City code was not fully updated after this decision. Additionally, financial challenges can be a contributing factor in a person's failure to comply with city code. In other pit bull related revisions, the city is proposing to simply remove language that requires owners of pit bulls to notify the city if their pit bull is lost, stolen, dies, or has a litter, and to deliver puppies to the animal shelter for destruction or remove them from the city by the time they are weaned. In response to a case where a hearing officer mistakenly believed that animal control had the capacity to monitor a vicious dog's home to ensure the owner was in compliance with various requirements, the city is looking to clarify the financial responsibility of owners of vicious dogs. Current code allows vicious dogs to be returned to their owner under certain restrictions as an alternative to euthanasia. Animal control officers are required to monitor and verify the owner's compliance with those restrictions. Proposed revisions would disallow vicious dogs to be returned to their owner, making euthanasia the only option, and it is made clear that the owner is responsible for all costs associated with impoundment, removal, or euthanasia of the animal. Owners would retain the ability to appeal a decision for their dog to be euthanized to circuit court. Additional proposed code revisions include the title of Section 18-60 is being changed from restricted dogs to dangerous dogs in order to clarify the health department's role in declaring dogs dangerous and an owner's responsibility in owning a dangerous dog. Also, how long a dog is considered dangerous would increase from 2 years to the life of the dog, though owners can apply to have the designation removed after 3 years. Dogs that have already been declared restricted and continue to run at large would be considered dangerous under the new code. The title of Section 18-61 is being changed from nuisance dogs to restricted dogs in order to create a clear path for animal control to declare a dog restricted, which it would be able to do when an owner has been issued 2 citations for their dog running loose. In contrast, current code requires a criminal conviction. According to the city, a restricted dog declaration can serve as a deterrent and control measure to improve compliance with city code by serving as a pathway to both dangerous dog and reckless owner declarations. In addition, the revisions would establish a minimum fine of $200 or 20 hours of community service and reduce the appeal period from 30 days to 10 days. Clarifying that when an animal is involved in a bite or scratch, it must be turned over to animal control for observation unless written authorization allows an alternative method for quarantine. In addition to the code revisions, the health department is proposing 2 entirely new sections of code, one expanding the authority of animal control officers and another requiring documentation of rabies for animals involved in bites. Currently, cooperation with animal control officers is not required. Officers can't even require someone to identify themselves, limiting their ability to investigate violations of Chapter 18. Under a proposed addition to the code, individuals would be required to provide personally identifiable information, such as their legal name and date of birth, when an animal control officer has reason to believe they were involved in a violation of Chapter 18 and prohibits them from making false statements and representations. In addition, the city is proposing a new requirement that dog owners provide proof of their dog's vaccination status in the event that the dog potentially exposes someone to rabies, establishing a criminal violation for any owner whose dog bites or scratches and who fails to display or otherwise provide such proof. If found guilty, an owner could be fined $200 or required to complete 20 hours of community service. When the vaccine status of the offending dog is unknown, it is recommended the victim receive post-exposure prophylaxis, which creates additional burden, stress, and financial strain on the victim. A description of the proposal reads. Meredith?
Hi. Okay, for today's celebrity birthdays, this is from, I believe, the News-Leader. So we've got Chase Hudson, who is 24, who is a TikTok star. We have got Lottie Weaver, who is 33. She's another TikTok star. We have Isabel Marie, who's 17, who is a YouTube star. And next we have pop singer Heron, who's 20. And then for tomorrow, we got Megan Fox, who's going to be 39 tomorrow. And she is a movie actress. And we got Janet Jackson, who's the pop singer, who's going to be 59. Next we have Lala Baptiste, who is an Instagram star. She's going to be 26. We have TV actor Thomas Brody Sangster, who's going to be 35. And next, we've got Matea Polabio, who's going to be 22. And they're a TikTok star. Next is I Am Santa, who's going to be 27, who's a Roblox star. Next we have reality star Kelly Highland, who's going to be 54. And then Slogo, who is a YouTube star, he's going to be 28. So happy birthday to all of them.
Nice. Happy birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And in other arts and entertainment news, we have the Ozarks Lyric Opera is tackling a giant challenge in the Dream Big premiere. This article from Jeff Kessinger in the Springfield Daily Citizen says, as if there weren't enough challenges in creating an original family-friendly folk story with music about the famous Missourian Ella Kate Ewing on a tight schedule, Ozarks Lyric Opera quickly found they had another challenge on their hands, a giant one. Who would play the 8'4" Ewing in Dream Big, a true tall tale? I had been asking colleagues from all over the country on how to turn someone into an 8'4" giant. Sean Spires, Olo's general director, said. Several said puppets are a great way to do that, but very expensive, and you have to find the right person to build it. So most agreed that stilts would be the best way to do it. However, I did not take into consideration that your average stilt walker can't act and sing. As luck would have it, the right person for the role lives in Springfield. Dream Big makes its world premiere at the historic Gillios Theater this weekend with a 7:30 p.m. performance on May 15th and a 2:30 p.m. matinee on May 17th. We're especially excited to welcome families to the Gillios Theater for our Sunday matinee, where adults can purchase one ticket and receive a child's ticket free, Lindsay Wheatley, marketing director for Olo, said in a media release. It's a wonderful opportunity to experience something meaningful together. To take advantage of that offer, you can call the Gillios box office at 417-863-9491, and tickets and more information are available on the Ozarks Lyric Opera website, and you can find that at ozarkslyricopera.com/events. The first person Spires thought of when casting Ewing was Allegra Schaefer, a veteran of Springfield's stages who appeared in Olo's Black Rider and Sweet Louisa. He knew she was good at movement and singing. Schaefer, however, was understandably hesitant. I have one previous stilt walking experience, Schaefer said. I was in a show, and it's on me. I should have said, I'm not going to get up without proper training, but I didn't, and there wasn't any training provided. Schaefer figured she should practice before rehearsals, so up she went. And while I was practicing, they came undone, and I fell off sideways and sprained my knee, she recalled. Spires told Schaefer that Olo would invest in her, and the company did it. It purchased top-of-the-line stilts for the show and hired experienced stilt walker and aerialist Mar Brigacek to provide training. The two worked for about 2 months before Dream Big rehearsals started. I literally could not imagine somebody better to work with, Schaefer said. Mar is so safety-oriented, so the first thing I learned was how to fall correctly, and that was such a relief to me from the get-go to know. They definitely got me the best person for the job. Schaefer was, understandably, a little anxious in the early stages of training. That eased about 3 lessons in when Brigacek added humming and singing to the regimen. The funny thing is that when I incorporated singing, I relaxed because I love to sing, Schaefer said. That's my home. That's what I love to do. I think it's easier to act while singing than while talking. I know not everyone's that way, but it's like that for me. Taking moments to stop and breathe also helped Schaefer relax while up on stilts. Another big adjustment was necessary, however, when she put on a massive hoop skirt as part of her costume. It makes my gait a lot smaller, which is actually more challenging to balance, she said. It's not as big of a step, and I think because you don't have as wide of a stance, that's a bit more challenging. But I started training with a weighted vest just so I could feel some extra weight, because every little tiny bit of difference is really felt when you're on stilts. Even putting that weighted vest on felt very different. Up on those stilts, Schaefer portrays Ewing with aplomb. Born in rural Scotland County, the Missouri giantess became a national figure. Ewing grew normally until about the age of 7, and then her pituitary gland kicked in. Despite being bullied and misunderstood due to her extraordinary height caused by a condition now known as gigantism, Ewing embraced a life of adventure. She traveled across the United States with circus shows and world fairs, paid off her family's farm, and built her own custom-designed dream home in Gorin, Missouri. Ewing's dedication to her family and friends really stuck out to me, Schaefer said. My family and friends are really important to me, and one of the first decisions Ella made was to exhibit in a Chicago show and basically cancel out all of her family's debts. And so I think initially she chose to do that for her family. And she was also super shy, so for her to decide, I'm going to go perform, I don't think was necessarily intuitive to her, but she found a way of strength in being able to be herself. The libretto for Dream Big was written by Kate Kleiss, based on her award-winning children's book, Stand Straight, Ella Kate. That phrase appears as a line in the show, and Schaefer loves it. Her parents were constantly encouraging her to be herself, own who you are, because that's enough, even though they were apprehensive about the circus world, she said. I can imagine it was horrible for her. I mean, she talks about people stabbing her legs with pins because they wanted to see if she was on stilts. People didn't believe that someone could have grown to that height. It's a Missouri production through and through. Kleiss is from the Show Me State, as is Rule Chappell of the Ozark Mountain Daredevils. He provided the music for Dream Big. The show blends folk traditions and theatrical storytelling to deliver its powerful and uplifting message of resilience, courage, and self-acceptance. This production is incredibly special because it allows us to showcase the extraordinary talent we have right here in the Ozarks. Not only our singers, but also gifted authors, composers, and musicians, Wheatley said. At its heart, Dream Big is a celebration of Missouri storytelling. Transcription and orchestration for Dream Big were provided by Santiago Posada Marin, a Colombian violinist, composer, and arranger currently living in Springfield. Marin is a performer with the Springfield Symphony Orchestra and the Missouri State Symphony Orchestra. He has performed at Carnegie Hall and premiered works internationally. I took Kate and Rule's work and I transcribed everything that Rule had created in music, Marin said. I created the voices and the piano part. After that, I created the orchestration for the group that will be on stage. There's piano, clarinet, trombone, drums, guitar, and I'm playing violin. And now I'm conducting as well. We've been rehearsing with the cast for a while, so I know their parts. It's been very fun. Marin said the work was not difficult, but it was just long. The show contains nearly 1 hour of music, so the full score ended up being 400 pages. He's excited to be involved in this world premiere production. I'm just really so immersed in the music, but it's very, very exciting, Marin said. This is really the first project where I feel like I'm using every single skill I have. Music theory, transcription, orchestration, composing, conducting, and performing. It's just all at the same time. Right before strapping her stilts on for rehearsal, Schaefer said she's honored to be part of this production and is glad it is aimed at children. She's a teacher herself. I think it's important to teach kids to embrace their uniqueness and their individuality, especially in the world we're living in, she said. It's a lot of, how can I fit in? How can I not stand out? And there's a line at the end of the show where the circus guy says, don't pretend you're not bizarre, which I love. Embrace that. And I hope that as people come see the show, they take away that standing up for each other and loving each other for how unique you are really is powerful and it can change lives. Dream Big will hit the road after its Gilio's debut. Olo plans to share its message with new audiences. We're taking it on tour to Memphis, Missouri, which is where Ella is from. And then we're hoping to take it all around the state, Spire said. Meredith?
An urban native garden in Springfield's Midtown neighborhood. And this is by Tessa Cooper from 417 magazine. Louise Wankowski and Rent Brown's Midtown Garden offers a home for birds, butterflies, and bees. Native gardens have been trending all across 417 land. Each one that pops up seems to inspire the creation of several others, often within the same neighborhood. But as any hobby gardener who hops into the bandwagon would quickly discover, keeping a native garden well maintained and looking beautiful throughout the entire growing season is no easy feat. It's an art that inspires delicate balance and one that Louise Wankowski is always working to perfect in her garden surrounding her and her husband, Kent Brown's historic Midtown home. She's humble about her talent for native gardening, but if you ask any of her neighbors and friends, they'll tell you she's quite good at it. I'm not perfect at it by any means, but it's really a learning process and kind of a science. She says, I'm pretty casual with it. Her secret to keeping a native garden thriving April through October involves consistent pruning, planting wildflowers heavily and close together, and keeping successive bloom timing in mind when choosing seeds. She loves sharing what she's learned with the team of local gardeners who run the Midtown Community Garden, and she even served as its president for 8 years. Her garden has earned gold certification in the City of Springfield's Yard Ethic Program. She currently serves in the Environmental Advisory Board of Springfield and Greene County, and she's been on the executive committee of the White River Group of the Missouri Sierra Club for 12 years. Winkowski also balances out the wild look of her native plants with a few ornamentals. For example, she recently planted a lavender garden on the edge of her native plant garden to add a bit of structure. And although she has a few wild hydrangeas surrounding Kent's woodworking shop, she also has several ornamental hydrangeas that thrive along the shady foundation of their home. Kent is a retired woodworker, and his talents have also contributed to the garden's stunning appeal. A picturesque playhouse sits in the back of their yard, which was originally a lumber rack that Kent spruced up with accents like siding and a tin roof. Their son, now grown, spent many afternoons playing in it, and it still serves a purpose as a garden shed. Kent also handmade the flat sawn porch balusters to back addition. If you gaze from just the right angle with the wildflowers in frame, it looks like a little corner in a Swiss village. The artistic couple also has artistic friends, and you'll see signs of their hard work throughout each year. Louise adds a new stepping stone to her side yard garden that she makes alongside her friend Jeanette Moser, who's a former art teacher. Their friend and neighbor Tom Ehlers made the statue of Kuan Yin, a Buddhist deity that is a major centerpiece in their backyard. I just always thought she's so peaceful looking and content, Louise says. My garden is a place that is very serene and quiet. I look at her and hope to be inspired by that. All right, Tony.
And Good Day Farm faces its second Missouri antitrust lawsuit in 2 weeks. This story from the Missouri Independent is brought to us by the Springfield Daily Citizen. Missouri's largest marijuana company is facing a second antitrust lawsuit in 2 weeks, this time from a Kansas City consumer who alleges Good Day Farm and more than 40 affiliated LLCs used a web of dispensary licenses to limit competition and inflate prices. Damon Frost Jr., a general contractor in Kansas City, filed the class action lawsuit in Jackson County Circuit Court earlier this month on behalf of Missouri residents who purchased recreational cannabis products from the defendants. Defendants' illegal scheme has successfully limited choice and locked out third-party brands, the lawsuit states, thereby decreasing competition and increasing costs for Missouri consumers. Frost and class members seek to dismantle the alleged operation and recover damages for consumers. In a statement to The Independent, Lisa Weiser, a spokeswoman for Good Day Farm, said the claims in the lawsuit are, quote, baseless and without merit. Our company operates in full compliance with all applicable Missouri laws and regulations, and we will vigorously defend that record. Frost declined to comment about the lawsuit. This is the second class action lawsuit filed against Good Day Farm and dozens of affiliates. The first lawsuit came 2 weeks ago and was led by two Missouri marijuana manufacturing companies who alleged that Good Day Farm and its affiliates are tied through ownership records, management structures, and acquisition agreements to more than 60 of Missouri's 224 dispensary licenses, more than a quarter of the market. They've used that structure, the lawsuit alleges, to form a, quote, illegal cartel, coordinating pricing, product supply, and retail operations across dispensaries that do not all operate under the Good Day Farm name. We will not allow aggressive legal tactics to distract us from what matters most, our mission to deliver uninterrupted service and exceptional products to the patients, customers, and employees who rely on us, Weiser said in an emailed statement. When Missouri voters legalized recreational marijuana in 2022, the constitutional amendment they approved carried forward a limit meant to prevent any single company from controlling too much of the market. But one key phrase from the state's medical marijuana law was gone. The Constitution's medical marijuana provision barred the state from issuing more than 5 dispensary licenses to any entity under, quote, substantially common control, ownership, or management. The recreational marijuana amendment instead says an entity may not own more than 10% of total dispensary licenses, dropping the language covering common control and management. That change received little public attention during the campaign, but records obtained by The Independent show it helped create an opening for Good Day Farm, the Little Rock-based marijuana company that was the leading donor to the legalization campaign, to build a much larger footprint in Missouri than the state's license cap might appear to allow. Good Day Farm first began operating in Missouri in 2020, according to its earliest LLC registration with the Secretary of State. After the 2022 constitutional amendment passed, company employees registered 2 additional LLCs, one in November 2022 and another in February 2024, that went on to acquire 20 dispensaries, 2 manufacturing facilities, and 2 cultivation sites, according to state business records. Ownership records The Independent obtained related to Good Day Farm and the LLCs affiliated resulted in numerous, quote, common control affidavits owners previously had to sign before recreational marijuana passed in November 2022. Frost argues in his lawsuit that Missouri marijuana laws allow for no more than 22 dispensaries to be under, quote, substantially common control, ownership, or management. A review by The Independent of publicly available marijuana business compliance records revealed the state no longer requires owners of licensed dispensaries, manufacturers, and cultivators to submit affidavits attesting they don't share common control or management with other licenses. When asked about the timing of the affidavits, Lisa Cox, a spokeswoman for the Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services, which oversees the Division of Cannabis Regulation, confirmed that the division discontinued collection of that affidavit when the Constitution was amended. The law and rules do not require analysis for substantially common control or management with comprehensive licenses, Cox said. The only exception is testing facilities, Cox said, who must still affirm that they are not under substantially common control with testing labs. The first lawsuit filed by Vibe Cannabis and local cannabis manufacturing licensees included an agreement that shed some light on how the acquisitions of licenses occurred, why there's so many affiliated LLCs, and who actually controls those licenses. The agreement outlined that outside investors would formally own an LLC that would acquire 10 licenses. However, the LLC's manager, selected by Good Day Farm, would make all decisions, including pricing and product selection, across the dispensaries. The manager and or its affiliates, the agreement states, also operate multiple other dispensaries, cultivation facilities, and processing facilities in the Missouri marijuana industry. Frost lawsuit argues Good Day and its affiliates are violating state consumer protection law known as the Missouri Merchandising Practices Act. All class members have suffered and will continue to suffer injury as a direct and proximate result of the combination and conspiracy between defendants that is ongoing, the lawsuit states, and relief will benefit all class members. Meredith.
All right. So this is Big Sister Style. This is written by Heather Kohler from 417 Magazine. When interior designer Gabby Russell and her husband Jordan found out they would be welcoming a baby boy soon, they knew they had to rethink their family's sleeping arrangements in their current home. Their five-year-old Quinn was going to have to give up her bedroom and move down into the basement to make room for her little brother, who needed the bedroom close to Gabby and Jordan's bedroom. I felt really bad about uprooting her and moving her further away from us, says Gabby. I knew we had to make it extra special for her. Gabby got to work dreaming up a space for her fashion-loving daughter. Quinn is a girl of many things, says Gabby. She has lots of shoes, clothes, knickknacks. So we needed a way to store everything. The Russells teamed up with builder David Edge, owner of Missouri Reclaimed Furniture, and they got work designing the new space. It was Gabby who thought of the loft bed idea with a desk underneath. Edge designed extra storage in the bed to make it more functional and got to work, building it in the shop. Gabby had a good idea of what she wanted, says Edge. My job is to maximize the storage by finding new ways to gain space. As for the color, Quinn's first request was pink. We knew we wanted to do this butterfly wallpaper, so I found three paint swatches that went well with that and let her pick from those. The storage holds extra toys, clothes, makeup, jewelry, and shoes, and keeps Quinn's room neat and tidy when playtime is over. Edge also reworked Quinn's closet, customizing it just for her, and the same pink as her custom loft bed. For art in that space, the Russells commissioned Hannah DeVries, owner of Portrait Novella Pets, to photograph the family's 4 dogs, Boomer, Grover, Lola, and Chi-Chi, for the art in Quinn's bedroom. I really wanted the portraits to be huge on the wall and in fun colors, says Gabby. Quinn loves her new bedroom, a place that suits her personality and a space where she can grow. She's only 5, but I'm hoping her new workstation will be a place for her to do her homework someday. And uses a vanity, says Gabby. I really like that it's pink, and I like the butterflies in my bed, says Quinn. I'm like a fairy princess. Tony?
We are broadcasting live from the Blind Community Thrift Store, the world's first retail store to use NaviLens to help navigate and inform blind and visually impaired individuals while shopping with little to no assistance. For more information, visit our website at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. And we have a developing story from the Springfield Daily Citizen and Ryan Collins this morning, last updated an hour ago, regarding the Marshfield Data Center. The company behind a controversial data center project near Marshfield says the development is moving ahead despite the public outcry that has arisen in Webster County governmental meetings and on social media platforms. Lumen Solutions LLC published a lengthy statement on Facebook on May 13th, laying out the environmental and energy usage details of the projects and stating the project exists in the current legal scope of county regulations. Political pressure does not make a lawful project unlawful. Misinformation does not create legal authority where none exists. Public outrage does not rewrite the rules in the middle of the process, the company said in the statement. But this project is lawful, properly positioned under the current framework, and is moving forward. The data center project being built on a 5-acre site on Rifle Range Road just north of Marshfield has been the center of controversy in the last few weeks. A special Webster County Commission meeting on May 11th had about 800 people in attendance. Many of the residents spoke out against the data center project on the basis of environmental concerns and the perceived lack of transparency of the company behind the project. The meeting ended without clear next steps for the data center projects, for the county residents, and for the county commissioners. The Webster County Commission said it had hired outside counsel in order to prepare a strategy to proceed, while the residents implored the commissioners to sign a 1-year moratorium to prevent the development from progressing until environmental studies could be conducted. 2 days after Monday's contentious meeting, Lumen Solutions has made it clear that it will proceed with the data center, and the company believes it is acting within its legal rights in doing so. Quote, Webster County does not have planning and zoning regulations that prohibit this type of lawful development, the company said in the Facebook post. Lumen Solutions has followed the process available, relied on the rules established by the county, and invested significant time, money, and resources based on those rules. The company stated that county laws could be changed, but this was not the venue for the talks on changing the laws and system in place. Quote, if Webster County residents want different rules for future development, that conversation belongs in the proper public and legal process, the company said in the post. That is how rules are created, changed, and applied. The company did not refer to the project as a data center, but instead as a, quote, high-performance computing research facility in Webster County. In the post, the developer highlighted some features of the data center meant to squash some environmental concerns. The post also included some new information on the design of the center. Quote, this is a small high-performance computing research facility proposed on approximately 5 acres in Webster County, the company said. The current plan consists of several small modular buildings totaling approximately 7,000 square feet. A rendering attached to the post shows that the site will consist of 8 modular units at approximately 600 square feet each. The developer highlighted a water usage of less than 5 gallons per day, no wastewater or toxic chemical discharge, minimal noise levels, and more. The post stated the project will generate an estimated $500,000 annually to Webster County through sales tax related to power purchases. On May 14th, the Webster County Commission published a statement on Facebook that discussed actions taken since the public meeting on the data center occurred. The Commission has contacted numerous federal and state regulatory agencies, quote, to ensure procedures are being followed, according to the statement. The Commission has contacted other counties to understand how data centers have impacted constituents. The Commission said it plans to travel to McDonald County next week to see a data center there. In the statement, the county agency said it is, quote, exploring the possibility of retaining outside litigation counsel to research the legality of adopting a moratorium on future data center development projects in the unincorporated areas of Webster County. A noise pollution control ordinance may be the legal basis for a moratorium, according to the statement. As an editor's note, this story has been updated to include a statement from the Webster County Commission posted May 14th. Meredith.
Okay. So this is Ways to Stay Cool with Your Kids. And this is by Taryn Shore McKee from 417 Magazine. It's no secret that the Ozarks get seriously hot come summertime. With kids out of school and a couple of extra hours of daylight, parents are often left looking for cool ways to keep everyone well cool. Here are several ideas, from splash pads and community pools to beaches and some indoor options. So we have, for a splash pad, we have Jordan Valley Park on 635 East Traffic Way. This downtown green oasis provides respite on the hottest days. The Ozarks Fountain and Stream Splash area features a shallow stream cascading down the hill, plus a plaza at the bottom and a large central fountain shooting water up to 10 feet in the air from several jets. Surrounding it, it's a wide open grassy expanse so kids can run and play to their heart's content. Make a day of it by strolling through the sculpture walk, exploring the covered Springfield wagon, or letting the little ones burn some energy on the rock climbing area. Next is Farmers Market of the Ozarks at Farmers Park at 2144 East Republic Road. This one's a win-win for parents and kiddos. Mom and Dad browse the market while the kids splash in the fountains that shoot up from the sidewalk at random intervals. Pair it with the market's live music and bites from local vendors, and you've got a perfect summer afternoon. Jumping Jewels at the Dickerson Park Zoo at 1401 West Norton Road. Tucked away in a corner, DPZ renovated its splash pad just a few years ago, adding tipping buckets and sunflower-shaped shower-style spouts. Insider tip, dress your kiddos in a swimsuit and head straight for the splash pad. Then let him or her dry off as you explore the zoo. Next is the Nixa Splash Pad at 701 North Taylor Way in Nixa. Right next to Nixa Aquatic Center and Macaulay Park, this adorable splash pad features a tunnel comprising multiple arches, each of them spraying water from various angles. There are also some mushroom-shaped fountains and jets that shoot up through the concrete. Next is the Firehouse Splash Yard at Silver Dollar City. If you're planning a warm weather outing to Silver Dollar City, baking in the summer sun isn't so fun after a few coaster rides. Luckily, you can take the kids to cool off at the plaza and the fire district. Fire hoses and powerful jets spray gallons of water, and there's a shaded veranda where you can comfortably keep an eye on your littles. For the water parks, we have Whitewater at 3505 West Highway 76. Experience 13 acres of water fun with a wave pool, the Polynesian jungle-themed Aloha River, a half dozen slides, and Coconut Cove for younger kids. 48 max height. Older kids and other thrill seekers will want to travel the 75-foot free fall Kalani Towers drop slides. Splash Country Resort at 1945 West 76 Country Boulevard in Branson. At Grand Country Resort, you can cure the summer craving any time of year. This indoor-outdoor water park features a lazy river, the enormous Grand Forks treehouse with 1,000-gallon tipping bucket, a wave pool, racing rafts, hot tubs, and toddler areas, and more. Note, access to Splash Country is included for overnight guests, and anyone can visit by purchasing day passes. Next, we have community pools. Many city pools open from roughly Memorial Day through Labor Day, with a few opening early or closing for its season slightly later. It's always a good idea to double check before heading out. First is Fast Night Pool at 1305 South Main here in Springfield. This is the city's largest and first community pool with a slide, 2 diving boards, and a separate fenced kiddie pool and splash zone for children under 6. Out of the pool, enjoyed several shade structures, a concession stand, the historic 2-story bathhouse, pavilion for party rentals. Fast Night also participate in Splash and Sizzle. Admission is $1, free with a canned food donation to Ozarks Food Harvest during the last hour the pool is open. Next is the Chesterfield Indoor Aquatic Center at 2511 West Republic Road. You can still go swimming on bad weather days. Just head to the pool at Chesterfield Family Center. The main pool has a 0-depth entry and a twisting 200-foot water slide. In addition, there's a dedicated lap pool and a hot tub. Notably, the pool here is open year-round. Next is Grant Beach Park at 1401 North Grant Avenue. Although the sandy beach is long gone, yes, the park had one back when the pool was a man-made lake. Grant Beach Park's pool is still extremely popular. There are also a couple of slides and a large interactive treehouse-esque water play structure. While you're here, check out the free Railroad Historic Museum featuring a depot, caboose, and several exhibits. Next is Westport Pool at 3100 West Mount Vernon here in Springfield. It may be one of the park board's smallest pools, but Westport is arguably one of the best for younger kids. It has a rock climbing wall in the water, shade structures both in and outside the pool, a slide, floating obstacles, and a number of spray features. Next is the Doling Indoor Aquatic Center. Another year-round option. Doling's recreational pool has a 0-depth entry, tube slide, and several splash and spray features. The pool hosts adults-only swim, water aerobics, swim lessons, and other sessions on specific days and times, so check the schedule carefully before heading out. Next is the Rush in Republic at 711 East Miller Road. More water park than city pool, but with prices closer to the latter, the Rush has multiple pools and slides. The Hana Surf Simulator and its crown jewel, a lazy river. There are also 2 0-depth entry area, ideal for younger children, as well as splash and spray toddler playground. Multiple passes available with additional discounts for Republic residents. Next is the Nixa Aquatic Center at 701 North Taylor Way in Nixa. Nixa's Aquatic Center has a bit of everything for all ages. Basketball hoops, 2 corkscrew slides, floatables, a diving board, and 6 lap lanes. Tumble buckets and a play structure in the zero depth entry area keep smaller children entertained. We have the Branson Aquaplex at 1500 Branson Hills Parkway. Choose this pool if your family's full of active types. With multiple slides, a basketball hoop, climbing wall, and zero depth entry area, with huge water play structure, you can easily spend all day here. There are also concessions and plenty of lounge chairs. All right, Tony.
And it looks like some demolition of Galloway buildings begins after years of controversy. Marta Mees with the Springfield News-Leader brings us this story, which was updated to add a video photo gallery and additional information. Heavy equipment, large dumpster containers, and temporary fencing made their way onto a controversial Galloway Village property on Thursday, May 14th, as demolition work began to tear down a nearly 100-year-old building on Lone Pine Avenue. After a demolition permit was issued for all structures at 3535 South Lone Pine Avenue, work began swiftly with the raising of a small house on the north of the property and stone structures in the rear on Thursday morning. A large magnolia tree highlighted by local residents was also uprooted. Demolition began later in the afternoon on the back of a larger white building along Lone Pine known as the Treadway Building, although the frontage remained untouched by the end of the day. It was built in 1929 as the Sequiota Store and was later known as Treadway's Store and Gas Station. The property has been subject to controversy for years. In 2022, a public vote overturned a rezoning for the property and others alongside it after strong neighborhood opposition. The Galloway Village neighborhood had tried previously to designate the Treadway Building as a historic city site. The historic designation was rejected by Springfield City Council in 2019, and a more recent attempt stalled at the Landmarks Board, according to reporting by the Springfield Business Journal. A historic designation would not stop demolition completely, but if received prior to a permit application, could slow the process down. Thursday morning, local residents and nearby business owners and workers watched as the decades-old structures came down. Some drove by reminiscing about the building's past, which most recently was occupied by the one-of-a-kind store. Melanie Bach, president of Galloway Village Neighborhood Association, provided the News-Leader a statement sharing the neighborhood's disappointment with the demolition. She referred to it as an example of, quote, demolition by neglect, accusing the owners of letting the commercial building sit and fall into disrepair in order to justify demolition. 6 years ago, community members fought to protect the Sequiota Store through the landmark designation process because we recognized its importance to the historic identity and character of the neighborhood, Bach's statement said. Today is not just the loss of several buildings, but the loss of another piece of the history, character, and sense of place that made Galloway Village unique. Jeff Hames has owned Trim Salon next door to the property for 21 years. He said it was a shame to see the building, which had previously been a thriving commercial spot, deteriorate and be demolished. In his eyes, the building could have been revamped and reused. What was the necessity other than benefiting one person, which would be the person who's been trying to, change the footprint of this wonderful little community called Galloway that doesn't need to be changed? Part of its charm is not changing it. That's what makes it cool, Hames said. It was a really neat one-off piece of architecture that would be really hard to recreate now. It is not yet clear what will be built on the property. While temporary fencing also included properties on the north at 3527 South Lone Pine and 3521 South Lone Pine, a search through the city's e-city portal did not return any active permits for demolition. Both properties are zoned for limited business or commercial mixed-use neighborhood under the new Land Development Code, which allow for more low-intensity commercial uses. Mitchell Jenkins owns 4 lots across from Sequiota Park under Galloway Village LLC and Elevation Enterprises LLC, making up just over 4 acres of property. The property at 3535 South Lone Pine Avenue is zoned for general commercial use. The News-Leader could not reach Jenkins for comment by publication deadline. And in other building news, looks like Pipkin students are going to have one last chance to see the building used as a school in an open house. Joe Hadsaw from the Springfield Daily Citizen says the classroom in Pipkin Middle School's lower floor didn't look too much different to Lenny Hernandez. The English language arts classroom was a math class back when Hernandez was a student in the late 90s, and he got into a lot of trouble in that class back in the day. I got in so much trouble that my mom came and sat in on the class, Hernandez said. I was flying through assignments, and then I was just messing around, so I got into a ton of trouble. So my mom said she was going to go up there and see why. About 50 people visited Pipkin on Thursday, May 14th in an open house hosted by the Foundation for Public Schools. Those alumni enjoyed walking through the same halls they did when they were students on the verge of turning into teens. Hernandez attended the building for 3 years from grades 6 through 8. Others remembered when the building was considered a junior high. Stephanie Mosley attended in 67 and 68 when the school looked much different. Her husband, Bill Mosley, was a student in the 50s. I like the paint job, it's a lot better, Bill Mosley said, pointing out all the blue lockers and other trim in the halls. The couple have 5 children who also all attended Pipkin. Now more than 100 years old, Pipkin was completed in 1925. It has had several upgrades over that time, but is considered one of Springfield Public Schools' most efficient buildings. A new building is currently under construction and is planned to open for students next school year. Thursday's open house was one of the final times people could see the building in use as a school. Fred Candy, who attended in 82 and 83, was amazed to see the school's current library. This wasn't even here, Candy said. The library was upstairs, and when he came up to the front entrance, those doors and glass weren't there. My first classroom was upstairs right through those doors, and I remembered that they had a radio station there. While attendees were free to visit most parts of the building, they largely followed tours led by teachers and students. 8th grade teacher Shannon Lightfoot Rhodes and 6th grader Penelope Norton led some of those tours. Norton has appreciated her year inside the building. She said that even though the school has gotten really hot sometimes, she'll miss moments of friendship in the lunchroom and in a nearby restroom. There are like 6 girls where we would have a bathroom break and we would just kind of chill in there and be ourselves, wash our hands and our faces and make sure our makeup is good, Norton said. We had to use each other as mirrors. While attendees loved reliving memories and remembering moments from their times as students, they saw exactly why a new building is necessary. As they walked through, they noted how small classrooms were and how packed desks were. It needed an update with all the other new schools that have been built, Stephanie Mosley said. I just hope they get more room because I remember when I was going here, there wasn't any room to go outside or play games, have football practice, or anything. While Pipkin will be closed, there are currently no plans to demolish the building. Currently, the district plans to use Pipkin as storage once students and teachers move into the new building. Stephen Hall, Chief Communications Officer for SPS, said that the Board of Education will be asked sometime in the fall to consider whether the building should be designated as a surplus and listed for sale. Principal Dwayne Cox spent plenty of time talking about past memories with attendees of the open house, but he said students are excited to see the new school they will attend next year. They keep saying, "This is for us? That's going to be ours?" Cox said. It's going to be cool for kids to write down their own history, create their own stories, and leave their own legacy over there. Cox said he found a picture of the first students in 1925 outside of the building. Before school is over for the year, he plans to have students recreate their own version of that picture. Norton will be part of the building's final 101st class. It's going to be hard to leave this building, knowing we're not going to be back here. We have memorized this building by heart, Norton said. This is just amazing to know we're going to be the last generation that gets to be in this building. And several obituaries to read this week, beginning with Sarah Jane Nide, age 83, of Richardson, Texas, who passed away at 9:35 p.m. on Monday, May 4th, 2026, at the Ozarks Methodist Manor in Marionville, Missouri. Her arrangements will be handled by Williams Funeral Home. David Russell Kesterson, age 64, passed away on his birthday back on February 6, 2026, at the Methodist Richardson Medical Center in Richardson, Texas. Those arrangements will also be handled by Williams Funeral Home. Ann Gonton, age 81, passed away May 11th, 2026. Those arrangements are provided by Gorman Scharf. Those services will be held tomorrow, May 16th at 3 p.m. at Gorman Scharf Funeral Home. James Jimmy Johnson, aged 87, of Republic, Missouri, passed away peacefully on Friday, April 24th, 2026. A celebration of Jimmy's life is being held today, and those arrangements are being handled by Metters Funeral Home. George McAfee Johnson, aged 80, of Springfield, passed away on Monday, May 11th from complications related to the Parkinson's disease he had lived with for several years. His arrangements are being handled by Gorman Scharf Funeral Home. Finally, Glenn Carlos Knight, aged 80, passed away at May 12th at North Care Hospice in North Kansas City after a long battle with cancer. His visitation will be at North Cross United Methodist Church in Kansas City, and graveside services will be at Clear Creek Cemetery near Springfield, Missouri on Thursday, May 28th. Our condolences are with the family and friends of all of those who have passed. Meredith?
All right. So here we have the things to do this week in Springfield, Missouri. And this is by Taryn Shore McKee from 417 Magazine. With next week bringing Memorial Day and the end of the school year, we officially crossing into a new season. You can feel it in the longer evenings and packed restaurants' patios, some of which are even dog friendly. Speaking of pups, this week's events calendar is doggo heavy. Not complaining now. Not complaining, by the way. Between dog-centered events and even a barcuterie class, plus other outdoor gatherings around town, it's a good week to get outside before the real Ozarks heat settles in. You'll also find comedy, live performances, cooking classes, and the beloved Nixa Sucker Days, which feels very start of summer. Meanwhile, as you read this, I'm in Montana, my favorite place on earth. As an outdoor-focused writer, May is one of my busiest travel months, which has me curious. Do you jump into summer travel immediately or wait a bit? If you still finalizing plans, Allegiant launches a new direct flight from Springfield to Gulf Shores, Alabama next week. Convenient, maybe dangerously. So for anyone craving a quick beach escape. On that note, fun fact, my husband was born and raised in the Gulf Shores area, and we visit often. So Thursday, May 15th is Tacos and Tequila at Finley Farms. And this is a 21 and up event. $85, 6 to 8 p.m. Dinner and dancing and one memorable experience. Enjoy a 4-course dinner, plus a make-your-own nachos bar and a family-style dishes, paired with Cazadores tequila. After dinner, a salsa instructor will teach you some moves on the dance floor. Next, we have Sucker Days in downtown Nixa, and it's absolutely free. It's from 5 to 10:30 p.m. This beloved, quirky, long-running, and free festival celebrates its 68th year in 2026. The weekend includes live entertainment, over 100 vendors, kid zones, and of course, all things suckerfish. Next is Brian Posen at the Springfield Comedy Club. It's $28 at $6.50. It's $28 to $36.50, and the performances are 7 and 9:45. His name may not be immediately be familiar, but you almost certainly recognize Brian Posen. He's had several significant TV roles, including on Big Bang Theory, Seinfeld, Everybody Loves Raymond, New Girl, and others. Dream Big, a true tall tale at the Gillows Theater, and it's at 7:30 p.m. This original musical based on Kate Kleise's award-winning children's book, Stand Through Ella Kate, tells the story of real-life Missourian Ella Kate Ewing, the world's tallest woman during her lifetime, 8 feet 4 inches. Ozarks Lyric Opera performs with the help of Ozark Mountain Daredevils member Rue Chappell and composer and Pickwick and Cherry owner Katie Crane. Saturday, May 16th is Bark in the Park at Phelps Grove Park, and it's absolutely free, 8 a.m. to noon. Bring your favorite four-legged friend to Phelps Grove Park for this free event designed just for them. Shop the Canine Vendor Village, enjoy live music, and participate in dog-focused activities, including a group dog walk at noon. Proceeds benefit the Cruise Dog Park. Next is the Art of Charcuterie at Finley Farms. It's 8 and up, and it's $30 per person, 4 to 5:30 p.m. In partnership with Lavish Grazing, this Possum Night Out teaches you how to make dog-friendly grazing plates. Not only will you actually make a charcuterie board, you'll also learn about pet-safe foods. Dogs are welcome but must remain leashed. An affair to remember at the Oasis Hotel and Convention Center. The theme for this year's Springfield Symphony Orchestra fundraising gala is an affair to remember, so you can expect a night filled with old Hollywood glamour. There will be dinner, live music, live and silent auctions, and plenty of time to dance. We have open night experience class at Pits and Grills. Watch and learn some Cajun cooking techniques, then enjoy a traditional crawfish boil and a few sides. Head to the store and look for the indoor cooking facility. Registration includes beer and water. And next we have Gigs in the Garden on Sunday, May 17th. Take in the folk rock and American music of Brett Mill and the Gigantic Band in a beautiful free outdoor setting. Kiddos will love the playground, and there's beer and wine available for grown-ups. Head toward the Dogwood Garden and look for the Peace Third People Pavilion. Bring a basket or chair to sit down. And on Tuesday, May 20th, is Metro's Pizza class at the Metropolitan Grill. Learn the art of pizza making from an NYC trained pizza chef. This hands-on experience includes 4 courses and 2 glasses of wine, perfect for date night, but individuals, friends, and everyone else is welcome. All right, Tony.
And Tsunami Express rebrands 53 Take 5 car washes across the region. Janice Reeser with the Springfield News-Leader says that Tsunami Express Car Wash has completed a rebranding and operational overhaul of its acquired Take 5 car wash locations, according to a community announcement. The integration spans 53 sites across 7 states and involves more than just new signage, according to the announcement. The program rebuilt each site's wash systems, point of sale and membership technology, staffing model, and customer experience to a single Tsunami Express standard. This is not a cosmetic change, it's a platform play, Tsunami Express CEO Chris Schultz said in the announcement. Every acquisition is a chance to upgrade the wash, the technology, support for the team, and the customer experience at speed. That discipline is what allows us to grow without losing what makes Tsunami Express work. The integration sets a new benchmark for the pace at which a multi-site portfolio can be brought to a single operating standard. With the Take 5 portfolio fully integrated, Tsunami Express is now focusing on the next phase of expansion. Tsunami Express Car Wash, relaunched in 2022, operates a growing network of 74 Midwest Express locations. The company is focused on long-term, disciplined growth across the region, according to the announcement. Meredith?
Okay, just a second here. All right, so we have Food News in Springfield by Tessa Cooper from 417 Magazine. One big part of my job at 417 Magazine's food editor is the art of the following tip. When local food and beverage entrepreneurs are making big moves in a region, it's definitely one of the busiest times in their lives. And amid the countless texts, emails, and DMs they're getting is usually from me. That's why I'm always so thankful when someone takes the time to answer my follow-up questions after they make a big announcement. Such was the case this week when I got to chat with Kristen Douglas Brunel of Split Social Kitchen about their upcoming expansion. Read up on our conversation, followed by a major plot twist from Caracas House, a mini review of Middle Beast Cafe, and other tasty tidbits of the week. The when and where on Split Social Kitchen's expansion. When Split Social Kitchen dropped the news of its expansion earlier this month, we were definitely left with more questions than answers, which is honestly the mark of a solid teaser post. Owner Kristen Douglas Brunel took some time out of her busy work week to share more details with us, considering the 417 office is just around the corner from Split Social's current location. So we're very pleased to find out the business is only moving a hop, skip, and away from the other end of the same shopping center. The new address is 3021 East Sunshine, and the space is 5,000 square feet. Just for reference, the current location is only 1,800 square feet. This bigger footprint means a bigger kitchen, which also means a bigger menu. In this case, they're currently drawing up the plans for a full remodel complete with a patio, and they're aiming for a January reopening. We're looking forward to it. Tony?
And we are broadcasting live from the Blind Community Thrift Store in Springfield, Missouri, located at 2713 North Kansas Expressway. Find amazing deals Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Help the blind, help the community. And Springfield architecture firm buys historic C Street buildings for expanded HQ. Ryan Collins from the Springfield Citizen says that while Inform Architecture's new headquarters will only move the company a few blocks down historic Commercial Street, it marks a giant leap for the Springfield-based architecture firm. The company's new headquarters will be located at 308 to 310 East Commercial Street, just a quick jaunt from the company headquarters of more than a decade on the western block of the historic Springfield Street. The new headquarters will be located in buildings with a rich history, including housing the emblematic Springfield dive bar Cotton's Bar. One of the buildings most recently housed an H&R Block. Extreme renovations on the buildings are ongoing, and the architecture firm plans to be moved into the new space by the beginning of 2027, said Inform Principal Travis Tyndall. The company acquired two buildings at 308 and 310 East Commercial Street in 2021. The firm's new headquarters has been in the planning stage for multiple years. In order to remain in budget for the project, Inform needed to be granted historical tax credits to renovate and update the century-old buildings. The project was granted those tax credits last year, and crews soon began planning the build-out ahead. Inform started in 2007 and has since grown to include three principals, including Tyndall, Stephanie Shadwick, and founder Jennifer Wilson. The company has been located at 312 West Commercial Street for 15 years and owns that roughly 3,000 square foot property as well. The company has grown dramatically in the last decade and a half. We have slowly grown over the 18 years that we've been in business, Tyndall said. We will be able to certainly add more staff if we need to in the future, which is kind of the main goal. Now we have 13 employees, 5 licensed architects, and we are just out of space here in this location, Tyndall said. The architecture firm only operates in Missouri, focusing on governmental and higher education projects. The company lists some renowned Springfield area projects in its portfolio, like the Greene County Sheriff's Office and Jail and Ozarks Tech's Michael L. Parsons Student Union. The company is currently working on the Springfield Art Museum expansion, turning the old downtown YMCA into a Phelps County bank and the Greene County Courthouse expansion. Inform acquired the two Commercial Street properties for about $300,000, and the company expects to spend more than $1 million on construction, Tyndall said. With both buildings, the new headquarters will span about 5,600 square feet. Both of the C Street buildings were built just before the start of the 20th century. Time-worn red brick walls dominate the property with wooden staircases that were built before the time of standard building codes. The buildings were already gutted when Inform purchased the properties, with gravel floors and open spaces. There wasn't much demolition work required, Tyndall said. The properties have housed many companies in the last 125 years. One building started out as a frame and glass store with a morgue in the back. It stayed a mortuary for a number of years before moving on to new businesses. The property at 308 East Commercial housed a real estate company, a mortgage company, and a roller skate company, according to Springfield historian Richard Crabtree. In the 1970s, it became Birdie's Bar until it changed hands and turned into Cotton's Bar by 1983. I know it was a title company at one point, Tyndall said. There's still the safe and the safe door, which we intend to keep in the building, which is a cool element. It was also a morgue, and the back one-story space is a concrete lid where I believe the bodies were held. Crews have begun the construction. A 10-foot wide hole was just made in the antique brick wall to connect the two buildings on the ground floor. 2 skylights will be updated. Inform plans to remove the facade of one of the buildings to restore it to its original look, Tyndall said. With the historical aspect of the building, the tax credits helped with some of the steep renovation costs. Those tax credits really gave us the ability to do a renovation the right way, and afford to be able to make that move happen, Tyndall said. As an architecture firm, some of the renovation costs have come out in the small details. Instead of replacing the front windows on the second floor, we're actually having those taken out by a preservationist, and they're being rebuilt right now, Tyndall said. The entirety of one side of the first floor of the new space will be a conference room. The second floor will be an open studio, the firm's preferred layout due to its collaborative nature, Tyndall said. The new headquarters includes a small outside space, and the architecture firm has big plans for it. We're going to have an outdoor space in the back. They're going to sort of have an interior courtyard, and we're going to have a deck that goes up to the studio on the second floor, Tyndall said. Inform has called Commercial Street home for 15 years now and owns 3 parcels along the historic corridor. The company has chosen to invest in this part of Springfield because it feels at home there, Tyndall said. Most architects like sort of historic districts, downtown areas, Tyndall said. The buildings are special, the history special, the density is something that we appreciate. It's been really nice to see this area continue to be redeveloped and more people put money into the street. Tyndall said he believes real estate will only become more valuable on Commercial Street. After the move, Inform will empty its previous headquarters and the company will lease the building out to another office or retail customer. Buying the properties will be a good investment, he said. I think the property values here will continue to go up, Tyndall said. It's already becoming a really popular destination in Springfield, and I think it will continue to do that in the future. Meredith?
All right, so we have Brew 21 serves community and purpose. This is by Jordan Blomquist of 417 Magazine. With a mission as simple as spreading joy, Brew 21 Extra Chromosome Coffee Company is changing the lives of local young adults with disabilities. When you walk into Brew 21, located inside the Upside Down Mercantile at 209 West Commercial Street in Springfield, you will be greeted at the door by someone just as excited to see you as you are them. After browsing the Mercantile and grabbing a coffee, you most likely won't leave without a hug from one of the cheerful employees hoping to make your day. Owners Chris and Whitney Justice employ individuals with disabilities to work at Brew 21 by taking orders, making drinks, and greeting customers. Anyone who knows these young adults knows they're the life of the party wherever they go. Brew 21 started as a mobile coffee trailer. In 2003, Chris and Whitney started the business for their 17-year-old son Wyatt, who has Down syndrome. We wanted to come up with a job that he could have that would give him purpose and have meaning, Whitney says. We just started praying and dreaming about what that could look like. After much success with the trailer, the Justices began exploring the idea of opening a brick and mortar. They're affiliated with the Down syndrome group of the Ozarks and had a dream of teaming up with Upside Down Mercantile someday. Knowing Upside Down Mercantile was moving into a bigger space, they decided to put some feelers out there. What's crazy too was I messaged the leaders of the Upside Down group and the manager of the store and just said, we don't know what the future holds, but we're praying for what's next and what we're gonna do, Whitney says. And they both were like, you're never gonna believe this, but we're moving into a bigger space and we've already talked about what if we brought Brew 21 in. Brew 21 opened their physical space at the end of November 2025 on Small Business Saturday. The space is joyful, inviting, and comfortable. They offer signature drinks like the popular Wits Pick, French Vanilla, and Caramel. Dad's Choice, which is caramel, coconut, and mocha. And the one named after Wyatt, the JW, peanut butter and chocolate, along with classic and seasonal flavors. Chris and Whitney support their employees by spending time with them and learning how to work best. Most of them do very well with instructions. Instructions, lists, and routines. Many of the employees have worked there for years, and the justices have learned the best thing they can do for them day to day is let them be themselves and allow their personalities to shine. They really do just thrive with the tasks that you give them, Chris says. The goal of the business has never been profit, but rather purpose. Our goal isn't really functional, Whitney says. The goal is to create a workplace for people with special needs to have a job and thrive, really. It's really just about them. What began as a way to build something meaningful for Wyatt has grown into a broader mission of inclusion and opportunity. College students pursuing careers in education and special needs services are hired to help, and the team has become tight-knit, reliable, and interested in the mission. Long term, the justices hope to create a coffee packaging and production space to create additional roles for adults with special needs who might prefer quieter behind-the-scenes work. An expansion to a brick-and-mortar location is step in the right direction. It's all blessings, Chris says. Everything's worked out, and we've been blessed with great help, people who want to be involved. Tony?
Businessman Michael Phelps is facing new charges weeks after his prison release. Ryan Collins with the Springfield Daily Citizen says just 2 weeks after being released from federal prison, Michael Phelps, the Springfield businessman who pleaded guilty in 2023 to his role in a nearly $14 million wire fraud conspiracy related to COVID relief loans, is soon headed back to court facing fresh charges. On April 29th, Phelps was released from the Alpha House, a Springfield halfway house on East Division Street, as part of his 24-month sentence, according to records from federal court and the Federal Bureau of Prisons. Phelps had previously served time at a federal correctional institution in Arkansas, according to previous Daily Citizen reporting. On May 13th, the state of Missouri levied new misdemeanor charges against Phelps for alleged failure to ensure employees' liability and to obtain workers' compensation insurance at two of Phelps' former restaurants, Taco Habitat and Hot Cluckers, according to court documents. The case is being prosecuted by the Missouri Attorney General's office. Prosecutors allege that Taco Habitat was non-compliant with workers' compensation laws for 136 days from April to August 2022. During the non-compliance period, there was a workplace injury, according to court documents. Cluck 2 LLC, doing business as Hot Cluckers, was allegedly non-compliant for 151 days in 2022. In Missouri, employers with 5 or more employees must carry workers' compensation insurance. The penalty for not carrying insurance is a Class A misdemeanor on first offense with penalties up to $50,000. Those charges will land Phelps back in a Springfield courtroom on June 22nd, less than 2 months after he was released from the custody of the Bureau of Prisoners. An initial court appearance is scheduled at the Greene County Judicial Courts facility in front of Judge Josephine Stockard. Although Phelps was released from federal custody late last month after serving time related to the criminal fraud charges, the former Springfield businessman is still in the federal government's crosshairs. A civil suit filed by the federal government against Phelps, Phelps' former wife Jennifer Obert, and White River Brewery is ongoing. From March to June 2024, Phelps transferred a number of LLCs associated with White River Brewery to his former wife and business partner, Jennifer Phelps, according to previous Daily Citizen reporting. The couple has since entered divorce proceedings, which were finalized in March 2025, and Jennifer Phelps has resumed her maiden name, Jennifer Obert. The civil suit was filed in late 2025 and alleges that Feltz still owed nearly $8.2 million in restitution related to the criminal fraud charges. The suit alleges that the transfer of White River Brewery assets to Obert was done to evade paying restitution. The federal lawsuit against White River, Obert, and Feltz was filed in September 2025 and alleges that the transfer of ownership of the brewery business was, quote, made with intent to hinder, delay, or defraud the United States, according to the lawsuit filed in the United States District Court for the Western District of Missouri Southern Division. The government asked for the business transfers to be nullified. Though John Michael Feltz was the owner of White River Brewing Company when he pleaded guilty to his role in the wire fraud conspiracy, Jennifer Obert said in August 2024 the brewery was not involved in the fraudulent loans and there was no issue with the transfer of ownership, according to a previous Daily Citizen reporting. The civil suit has a 2-day bench trial scheduled for November 2027 in Springfield, according to court records. Obert is represented by Eric Ryan Olson of Hush Blackwell LLP. Olson declined to comment for this article. John Michael Feltz is listed as representing himself in the civil suit, according to court records. On May 15th, Feltz declined to comment on this story. Missouri court records show Feltz is not represented by an attorney in the workers' compensation liability charges. White River Brewery has been closed since summer of 2024. Meredith.
Okay. So next we have The Safe Spoon by Sensitively Sweet. This is by Tessa Cooper of 417 Magazine. As 417 Magazine's food editor, it's safe to say that I dine out often. It wasn't until I was pregnant with my daughter, Florence, in 2024, that I realized how big a privilege it is to be able to eat anywhere without worrying about off-limit ingredients that aren't safe for me to consume. And the list of what to forego when you're pregnant is pale in comparison to what people with food allergies and sensitivities have to avoid long term. That's why the Safe Spoon is filling a big void in the 417 land dining scene. Here, allergen-free food isn't an afterthought. The menu is full of breakfast and lunch classics that are celiac and alpha-gal safe and free from the top 9 allergens. For the review, I attended the private soft opening for breakfast, then went on my own for lunch. Both times I felt feeling full and didn't miss the gluten or dairy one bit. Starting off with the coffee I ordered, the cinnamon roll latte with fixed seed milk. Okay, I'll admit it. I'm super skeptical of any type of alternative milk, so I didn't have high hopes for this latte initially. But it proved me wrong and set the tone for a great meal. The flaxseed milk contains added proteins, making this latte extra creamy and thick. I ordered the berries and cream pancakes for my main and a side of turkey bacon, which I split with Florence, now age 1. Let's just say we were both fans and barely had any leftovers. If I didn't explicitly know that there wasn't any gluten or dairy in these pancakes, they would have fooled me. They're particularly fluffy and didn't have the grainy texture or filmy feeling that some gluten and dairy-free ingredients give off. When I returned for lunch a few weeks later with Florence, I went in knowing that I needed to order on her own dishes. The Safe Spoon is such a kid-friendly place, and I love that they have paper menus with crayons and plenty of high chairs. I ordered Florence a sun butter and jelly sandwich with applesauce, and I, of course, had to try a bite for research purposes. This sandwich was a delightful take on the classic, and the fact that they serve it warm is a testament to this cafe's thoughtfulness. The Nyingwa on sourdough bread was my order of choice, and it wasn't until after I finished the sandwich I realized I didn't have any cheese or cheese alternatives. The sweet caramelized onions, creamy garlic aioli, and date barbecue sauce gave this chicken and turkey bacon sandwich all the craveable flavor it needed. Right before I left the restaurant, I caught a bit of conversation on the neighboring table. It was exactly what this inclusive cafe is. Such a great addition to our dining scene. This is just so nice, the woman said to her friend. There's just something about being able to go out to eat and feel like you're normal. Tony?
And Springfield Police and Citizens are honored at an annual Gold Badge Ball. Janice Reeser with the Springfield News-Leader says community members, police officers, and staff were recognized for their service during the Springfield Police Department's annual Gold Badge Ball. The event, held April 25th, celebrated achievements and acts of bravery, according to a community announcement. The Springfield Police Department Awards Program was created to appropriately recognize officers and citizens whose act or actions are deemed to be exceptional or outstanding, Police Chief Paul Williams said in the announcement. Award applications are typically submitted by peers and thoroughly evaluated by the SPD Leadership Council. Medals were presented in 6 different award categories during the event. The Command Commendation is presented to an SPD personnel who distinguish themselves by a single act or series of actions that impact the community in a positive manner or significantly improve the department's ability to fulfill its mission. Looks like this year's winners include Corporal Jeff Steef, Officer Doug Trader, Officer Logan Beck, Officer Dustin Donaldson, Officer Trevor Rose, Officer Austin Mudd, Officer Diego Jacinto, Officer Antoine Blount, Officer Kylie Hens, Officer Sawyer Brown, Officer Nicholas York, Officer Brett Barnes, Officer Olivia Harmon, and Fleet and Equipment Supervisor Rob Schroeder. The Life Saving Award is issued to SPD personnel who personally save a life through significant non-routine measures. That was awarded to Corporal Justin Garrett. The Medal of Valor Silver is awarded to SPD personnel who distinguish themselves by performing acts of bravery or heroism above and beyond the call of duty in the protection of life or furtherance of justice, and in doing so place their own safety in imminent danger, and that was awarded to Corporal Paul Jones. The Meritorious Service Award was presented to Officer Matthew Vorse in recognition of acts by department personnel who, in the protection of life or furtherance of justice, exhibit conduct that is exceptional. The Lifetime Achievement Award presented to Captain Mark Foose in recognition of a career for distinguished service to the Springfield Police Department and the community. Quartermaster Unit received a Meritorious Unit Citation, and the Citizen Service Medal, the highest honor awarded to a citizen, was received by Toby Wilkerson for displaying an act of bravery and or courage while assisting the Springfield Police Department. And in other law enforcement news, Missouri State trains 1,000 officers for active shooter response. MSU has trained more than 1,000 law enforcement officers in active shooter response, according to a community announcement. The university's Public Safety Training Center and School of Criminology and Criminal Justice partnered with the Missouri Department of Public Safety and the Advanced Law Enforcement Rapid Response Training, ALERRT Center, to provide the training. A total of 1,011 licensed law enforcement officers have completed the program, representing about 7% of Missouri's 14,573 licensed officers. The initiative has reached 153 agencies across the state, accounting for 26% of Missouri's 590 law enforcement agencies. The ALERT program is designed to equip law enforcement officers with the skills and knowledge needed to respond to active shooter situations. The training emphasizes critical thinking, interagency coordination, and real-world application. In December, Missouri State Public Safety Training Center instructors became the first in any state to lead ALERT training for law enforcement officers in a U.S. state capitol building, according to the announcement. We believe the research-based ALERT training DPS and our partners at the Missouri State Public Safety Training Center are providing is realistic, highly effective, and delivered by experts who understand the dynamics of active shooter scenarios. Mark James, director of the Missouri Department of Public Safety, said in the announcement. Experience shows that law enforcement officers from different agencies often must team up to immediately respond to an active shooter situation. The ALERT model is designed specifically for this reality. The training is part of Missouri State University's broader public affairs mission, according to Bill Sandel, an associate professor and assistant director of the School of Criminology and Criminal Justice. Working with DPS and the ALERT Center to provide this training has been an honor. Having trained 1,000 officers in 3 years is a milestone in making our officers and communities safer, Sandel said in the announcement. This work demonstrates the university's commitment to public affairs. The partnership with the ALERT Center has put Missouri at the forefront of public safety preparedness. ALERT Executive Director Dr. Pete Blair praised the model as one worthy of national replication. The partnership ALERT has with the Public Safety Training Center and Missouri State University is a model for other states to follow, Blair said in the announcement. It is a testament to the success that can be accomplished through collaboration. Program leaders say this milestone signals growing momentum for expanded partnerships and programming in the years ahead. One of the most rewarding parts of delivering this training statewide is knowing that more than a quarter of Missouri agencies are now better prepared for the unthinkable, Cody Brewington, director of the Missouri State Public Safety Training Center, said in the announcement. In an active shooter event, this training can mean quicker response times and better agency communication, which ultimately saves lives. The training is expected to continue with more law enforcement officers receiving the critical training in active attack response. Meredith.
All right. So we have the U-Pick Berry Farms in southwest Missouri. This is by Zachary Raines, Tessa Cooper, and Addison Shelton from 417. So first we have the Stewart Farms Co-op, and it's in Pleasant Hope. Stewart Farms is a newcomer to the U-Pick Strawberry game, but they're already coming in strong. Currently, they only offer private U-Pick sessions, so visit their Facebook page to book a 50 minimum session, or snag a pint at the farm stand. Just be sure to bring extra cash for the other delicious produce you'll find. Next is Gardener's Orchard and Bakery, which is in Brighton. When the rows of strawberry plants are in their prime, Gardener's Orchard welcomes guests to the farm on weekdays for strawberry picking. You can pick your own for $5.25 a pound, or call in an order for pre-picked strawberries for $6 a pound. Be sure to save the date for their annual Strawberry Shortcake Festival as well. Next is Brown's Berry Farm, which is in Willard, celebrating their 27th season this year. The Browns know an early start is key to picking the best strawberries. That's why the gates open Monday through Saturday at 7 a.m. and close at 7 p.m. and open 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. on Sundays. Strawberries will be ready in early May through June. Throughout the strawberry season, the farm also offers potted flowers and hanging baskets for sale, along with the freshly made baked goods like bread, cakes, and pies. Next is the Crafty Farms in Pierce City. Get out in the sun at Crafty Farms. Thanks to their ever-bearing strawberry plants, the season gets an extension, meaning you could be picking strawberries into October. Crafty Farms is a family-owned business that offers you-pick strawberries, blueberries, and blackberries. Take your family out for the day and enjoy some fresh fruits and vegetables. Be sure to call ahead during inclement weather or to check availability by for the berry of your choice. Next is High's Berry Farm in Ozark. Strawberries are ready for picking at High's Berry Farm starting in May. Family owned and operated, High's Berry Farm is a you-pick and pre-picked strawberry farm located south of Ozark, just west of the 65 and EE exit. The farm opens early and closes late to ensure you can pick strawberries any time of day. The farm also keeps pre-picked berries on hand for last-minute shoppers. Call ahead for large orders. Next is Missouri Berries and Republic. Think of Missouri Berries. 417 Lane's newest you-pick berry farm. Like a springtime version of a pumpkin patch. With grain bin basketball, an obstacle course, walking trails, and picnic tables, this is the perfect spot to spend a beautiful spring day outdoors with your crew. The family and veteran-owned farm has over 50,000 strawberry plants, which should be ready to pick by mid-May. Berries are $5 per pound for you-pick and $6 for pre-picked. Next is Ozark Mountain Orchard in Highlandville. Head down to Ozark Mountain Orchard to pick your own strawberries. The orchard is open Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 5 or by appointment. Ozark Mountain Orchard is family-owned and operated business growing various fruit. Ozark Mountain Orchard is a family-owned and operated business growing various fruits and vegetables. In addition to strawberries, they offer you-pick blueberries and blackberries. Be sure to check in beforehand to see if the berries you want to pick are available. Next is the Swiss Berry Patch in Republic. Formerly Boss's Berry Farm, Swiss Berry Patch regularly updates their social media with times and dates for picking their produce. Next is Tasty Acres on State Highway AA in Springfield. Just north of Springfield, not far from Fellows Lake, is Tasty Acres. This you-pick farm also picks pre-pick and a greenhouse of produce. Check their social media for news. Next is Missouri Berries. The owners of Missouri Berries have changed. Has its charm has stayed the same. Randy and John L. Little, previous owners of PFI Western Store, host their first season as new owners of Missouri Berries. Enjoy a fine selection of you-pick strawberries and blueberries, as well as a tiny library, trails, and an activity area for the entire family. Next is the Black and Blue Berry Farm in Rogersville. There's so many activities to enjoy with your family at Black and Blue Berry Farm. Pick your own blueberries, go lavender harvesting, shop handmade products from house produce, or sit back with delicious treat and listen to live music. The farm hours in June and July are from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. to 8, but make sure to call ahead to check blueberry availability. Next is the Persimmon Hill Farm in Lampe. If you're searching for delicious blueberries at their peak ripeness to make some homemade jams, jellies, or syrups, you'll want to go to Persimmon Hills Farm. They offer big, flavorful berries and recipes that can be found at the farm and their website. Berries are usually ready the first and second week of June for you pick. Check for updates on their website. And since we're almost out of time, I'm going to do Burton's Farm, which is in Billings. At 20 minutes south of Springfield to visit Burton's Farm for their You Pick blueberry and flower season. Alongside fresh berries, take home an adorable hand-selected hand-selected flower bouquet from the farm's striking flower fields. All right, Tony, your turn.
All right, 41 people are being monitored for hantavirus exposure. We have a map of the states that are being affected here from the Springfield News-Leader. A total of 41 people across the United States are under monitoring for hantavirus in connection to the deadly outbreak that killed 3 passengers on the MV Hondias cruise ship. Officials from the Center for Disease Control and Prevention said during a May 14th briefing. The 41 people come from 3 main groups. Dr. David Fitter, incident manager for CDC's hantavirus response, said in the briefing, 18 passengers who were recently repatriated to health facilities in Nebraska and Georgia. 7 passengers who had left the ship returned home before the outbreak was identified. And people who may have been exposed during travel on flights where a symptomatic case was present, which includes 16 people. Fitter confirmed the symptomatic individual noted in the 3rd group was on a flight from St. Helena to Johannesburg. The World Health Organization previously confirmed this case. Though the CDC recommends people do not travel during the 42-day monitoring period, Fitter addressed why the department is, quote, not using our federal quarantining authority on people to mandate quarantines. Our approach is based on risk and evidence. We are working closely with passengers and public health partners to ensure monitoring and rapid access to care if symptoms develop, he said. There are no positive hantavirus cases in the United States tied to the outbreak as of May 14th. Here's a look at which states have stated they are monitoring exposures. Residents in some states are being monitored for symptoms after being exposed to hantavirus. Let's see. Closer monitoring in Georgia and Nebraska. Only some of their places of residence have been announced. Looks like the states included here include Washington, California, Arizona, Nebraska, Kansas, Texas, Minnesota, Illinois, Georgia, Virginia, Maryland, and New Jersey. Also, we have states quarantining cruise passengers in Washington, Oregon, California, Arizona, Utah, North Carolina, New York, and New Hampshire. All right, and we want to thank you for listening to the Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service. Tune in every week, Monday through Friday, on the Blind Community Thrift Store's YouTube channel at 10 a.m. for more up-to-date news from the Springfield News-Leader, Springfield Daily Citizen, Springfield Business Journal, and 417 Magazine. Listen after we are live on the Audio Reader Network at www.reader.ku.edu. All broadcasts are played over KSMU's subcarrier airwaves at 67 kilohertz on 91.1 from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Contact Audio Reader Network for more information on receiving a pre-programmed radio.